Good morning. Today we are doing lesson 4.2a, graphing linear equations. So right away before we start actually graphing, it says decide which of the 2 points lies on the graph of the line. So what they're asking is, in a coordinate plane, x and y, we have a line that we've been graphing, whatever that line might be. They're asking us, on that line, right here, here's that line, let's pretend that's that line, is this point on it, or is this point on it? Could be both, could be one, could be neither. So it might be like one's on the line and one's not on the line, or they could, for example, both be on the line, one here and one here. So we need to plug them in, x and y, into our equation to see are they on the line or are they not on the line. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my equation. It says, first I'm going to plug in point A. It says 2 times x, and x is really -4, so it's touching, so multiply. And then it says plus y, and y right here is 5. We need to see, does that equal 11? Is it on the line or not? So I know 2 times -4 is -8. And just think, you guys, is -8 plus 5 going to give us 11? No, -8 plus 5, different sign, subtract, that would give you a -3. So those are not equal, so if you put the slash through it, that says that they're not equal. So this one would be no. But we also need to check the second point. So then I'm going to try point B, x and y. So my equation says 2 times x, and x is a 4 this time, plus y, and y is a 3. Does that equal 11? Well, 2 times 4 is 8. So we have 8 plus 3 equals 11. Well, 8 plus 3 more 8, 9, 10, 11 equals 11. Yay! So yes, the second point is on the line. The first point is not on the line. Let's do the same thing with our next problem. Here it says 2 times y this time. So y is 1 first. 2 times y, which is 1, minus x, and x this time is 5. Does that equal 9? Well, 2 times 1 is 2, and then 2 minus 5. Is 2 minus 5 going to give us 9? Hopefully you know the answer is no. So let's try point B. You can't just assume point B works because they might both be no. So it says 2 times y, and y is 5, x, y, alphabetical order, remember. And then minus x, which is 1. Is that going to equal 9? Well, 2 times 5 is 10. And 10 minus 1, yep, 9. 9 is equal to 9. So yes, the second point worked. You will have a couple like that on your homework. Next, we are going to continue to graph, but when we graph, all the ones we did yesterday were already solved for y. They were in function form. So we need to solve for y, or get y all by itself. So first, to move this 5x, this was on your last test, so hopefully you already know how to do this. You're going to subtract 5x over to the other side. It's a positive, so we need to do the opposite. Those eliminate. 5 minus 5 is 0. So we have y equals, and then you can't combine these together because one has an x and the other doesn't. But remember, we always put our x's first. -5x, and then that's a positive 12, so plus 12. And there's our answer. Let's do the same thing over here. We want to get y all by itself. So first I'm going to move this 8x over to b on the other side. And it's a positive, so I'm going to subtract 8x. Those are gone. We have -2y. And then, like I said, write your x's first. -8x. And this is a positive 12, so plus 12. There are a couple of you that stopped right here on your test. You're not done. Y is not all by itself. This is multiplied, so we need to divide everything by -2. 2 over 2 is just 1y, or y. A negative divided by a negative makes a positive. 8 divided by 2 is 4, so 4x. And then 12 divided by negative 2, 12 divided by 2 is 6. So on our next problems, we're going to have to solve for y and then make a table to graph. So that's why we're reviewing solving for y first. So let's do this. First step, solve for y. I'm going to get y all by itself, so I'm going to subtract the 12x over to the other side. Reminder, whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So we have negative 6y, then write your x first, negative 12x plus 6. And then last, the opposite of multiplying is divide. Divide everything by negative 6. Those eliminate. We have y equals, two negatives make a positive. 12 divided by 6 is 2, so 2x. And 6 divided by 6 is 1, and it's a negative. So there we solve for y. Now we have to make a table, and then we'll have to graph it. So let's make our table so we can figure out what to plot. So here's my table. I'm going to plug numbers in for x, put my equation in the middle, and then get numbers out for y, x, y. So my equation goes in the middle, 2x minus 1. It doesn't tell us what to plug in, so because there's no fraction here, we can plug in any numbers that we want, but I would suggest always plugging in 0, a couple negative numbers, and a couple positive numbers. That's why we plugged in last time these numbers, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. So let's plug those in for x. So first it's 2 times x, and x, taking out the x, we're replacing it with a negative 2. And then we're going to subtract 1. Some of you can do this in your head. Negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. A negative 4 and a negative 1, they're all negatives. That's a negative 5. If you'd prefer to use the calculator, we have 2 times negative 2 and then minus 1. There we go. There's your answer. So our next one, we have 2 times negative 1 and then minus 1. So 2 times negative 1 minus 1 gives me negative 3. Then 2 times 0 minus 1. Well, 2 times 0 is just 0. 0 minus 1 is negative 1. And then we're going to plug in a 1. 2 times 1. Hopefully you can do some of these in your head. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 minus 1 is 1. If you notice, we're going up by 2's. Negative 5, negative 3, negative 1 to a positive 1. We're going towards the positives 2 every time. And last, plugging in a 2. 2 times 2 is 4. Minus 1 is 3. So our last step is to just plot our points. Y-axis goes up and down, x is left and right. So our first point here is negative 2, negative 5. So x is negative 2 to the left, and negative 5 is down 5. If you want to number the lines, you can. You don't need to, though. No positives to the right. Negative is to the left. Positive is also up. And negative is also down. So our next point, we have negative 1, negative 3. So we already plotted our first one. Our next one is negative 1 to the left, and negative 3 on our y-axis is down 3. Then 0, negative 1. Looking here, 0, negative 1. 0 is not left or right, it's just in the middle. Negative 1 on our y-axis is down 1. Last two we have 1, 1. So x is 1 to the right and y is up 1. And then 2, 3. X is 2 to the right and y is up 3. And those should form a nice straight line. Remember, we're in linear algebra. It's forming a nice straight line. Okay? Let's try another one just like that. Just like on the other one, solve for y first. So leave the y here. I want to move the x's to the other side, so I'm going to subtract 3x. So those are gone. We have negative 2y equals negative 3x. If you want, you can write plus 0, but I don't need to. It's just 0. It's nothing. And then last, the opposite of multiplying is dividing. Divide by negative 2. So we have y equals, well, two negatives make a positive. We have 3 over 2x. Always leave that as a fraction if it's not going to be a nice number. Don't convert it to a decimal. And then we're going to make our table so we can graph. Plug numbers in for x, and we're going to get out y. Our equation goes in the middle, and our equation is just 3 over 2x. There's nothing added or subtracted on this one. So it doesn't tell us what to plug in. Last time we plugged in whole numbers counting by ones because there weren't any fractions. This time our denominator is a 2, so we need to plug in multiples of 2. So positive, it would be 2 and 4, and negative, that would be negative 2 and negative 4. That way we don't end up with any decimals with our y's. So we're going to take 3 over 2, and we're going to multiply it by x. And x this first time is a negative 4, right here. So 3 over 2 times negative 4. You can multiply that like this, 3 over 2 times negative 4, which is really negative 4 over 1. And you get negative 12. 3 times negative 4 is negative 12 over 2. And 12 divided by 2 is negative 6. If you'd prefer to use your calculator, we would put the fraction in parentheses, 3 divided by 2, times, and then a negative 4. There it is, negative 6. Let's try again. 3 over 2 this time, times, or multiplied by negative 2. I'm going to plug this one in my calculator. 3 divided by 2 times negative 2. We get a negative 3. Then we're going to plug in a 0. 3 over 2 times 0. Well, this one we should know anything times 0 is 0. If you can see our pattern, we're going up by 3 each time, so our next number should be a 3 and then a 6. If we're not sure, let's plug it in. 3 over 2 times 2. So in parentheses, 3 divided by 2 times 2. There's our 3, yep. And then our last one is going to be, in parentheses, 3 divided by 2 times 6. Oop, not 6, 4. And we get 6. So that one was 3 divided by 2 times 4, gave us 6. So let's plot these points. Remember x and then y. X is left to right, y is up and down. It's like following directions. Our first point is negative 4, negative 6. Then we have negative 2, negative 3. Then we have 0, 0, 2, 3, and 4, 6. I just wrote out all the points from x and then y as an ordered pair. So let's plot these. First, x is negative 4 going left and right. Negative 4 is to the left, negative 1, 2, 3, 4. And then negative 6 is down, negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then we have negative 2, negative 3. So x is negative 2 to the left, and negative 3 is down 3. The next one, 0, 0, that's our origin. That's right in the middle. And then we have 2, 3. X is 2 to the right, and y is up 3. And then last, 4, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You know you did it right if it makes a nice straight line. And there's our answer. Alright, this last one is a little bit tricky. I think this is our last. Nope, we have one more after this. But these ones are pretty simple. To solve this one for y, our only step is to add 6 to the other side. So we have y equals 6. So if we make our table, there's x and y. So if we plug in our numbers for x, there's no fraction in here, so we can plug in just counting by ones, -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. There's nothing to plug in to our equation. All it says is 6. There's nowhere to plug in an x. So we really don't even need this middle column because they're telling you y is always going to be 6. So our points are going to be -2, 6, x and then y. And then we have -1, 6. And then we have 0, 6. Then we have 1, 6. And then we have 2, 6. Those are our points. This is just going to be a nice horizontal line going left to right. So if we plot these, x is -2 to the left and up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then x is -1, y is 6. X is 0, we're not going left and right, we're up 6. This is just forming a straight line. At 1 we're at 6, and at 2 we're at 6. So this line right here is our line. Is this a function? We learned that function means it forms a straight line. However, function also means that it's solved for y. Function form means solve for y. So yes, this one is a function because we can solve it for y. Another way to easily graph this we'll learn next time. And then this last one, solve for y. Well, you guys, there's no y in here. So right away I know this is not a function, but I still need to graph it. So instead of solving for y, we're just going to have to instead solve for x. So subtract 4. So x equals -4. So this one, if we try and make a table, x, y, oops, that was not good. If I go to make a table, just like the other one, there's nothing to put in the middle, and it's not even solved for y. So we can't choose our x's because they're telling us x is always going to be a -4. No matter what, x is always a -4. We don't need this middle column. We actually have to do this backwards. We're going to choose the y's. So we can choose -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. So it's just backwards of the other one. Back here, we chose our x's, and y was always 6. But this time, x is always -4, so we have to instead choose our y's. So if we plot these points, x, y, -4, -2 first. So x is -4, and then -2. Then -4, -1. So -4 to the left. -1 is down 1. And then -4, 0. So -4, we didn't go up or down. And then we have -4, 1. -4 up 1. And then -4 up 2. So this one should form a vertical line. Oopsies. Should form a vertical line that goes through all of those points. And this one is not a function, and we'll explain why in a couple days when we talk about slope. So we do have a graphing activity that we need to do, and when you're done with this is going to be a 2-day activity, and then we will have our homework. Good luck!